Today on 21st Century Business, explore state-of-the-art technology, innovative business strategies, insights from cutting-edge corporations around the globe, a visionary look into the answers of tomorrow, today. Business leaders, business solutions, 21st Century Business.
Welcome to 21st Century Business. I'm Jackie Bales. In the oil and gas industry, most every mechanical in and out point requires the use of a valve. However, despite the fact that a spill or leak of these resources could be disastrous, purchasing departments often choose the lowest cost valve, resulting in unpredictable and potentially unreliable performance. Well, our guest today, Kevin Hunt, president of ValvTechnologies, is here to discuss this dangerous problem and the products his company has created to solve it. Welcome, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Jackie. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Tell us more about the challenges and dangers that oil and gas companies face due to choosing the wrong valve equipment.
The oil and gas industry today are facing multiple challenges. The fields that they're getting into are much more complicated today. The processes are much more difficult. The volatility of the fluids and the higher pressures involved, another major factor that has to be taken into account. And then as we get into some of the sour fields today, hydrogen sulfide gas being a major issue, the release of hydrogen sulfide gas can be fatal to humans. So this is a big problem for the operators.
So Kevin, tell us what your company, ValvTechnologies, is doing to mitigate these dangers.
We're a valve manufacturer, particularly of what we call emergency shutdown systems. These are mandated in several parts of a production field. These particular components have to be what we call zero leakage. And the latest specifications coming out of the American Petroleum Institute are now addressing these. And so we manufacture both small, large, handling multiple materials and also handling a wide variety of pressures and temperatures.
Well, in this 21st Century Business Field Report, we open up the operations at ValvTechnologies and see just how their products are helping clients with the daily process problems and system-wide total flow solutions.
Both onshore and offshore oil and natural gas companies face a range of challenges. And to better ensure safety, minimize environmental hazards, and to protect their assets, they're turning to ValvTechnologies and its full line of severe service valves.
ValvTechnologies is a very unusual company because they only make severe service ball valves. There are many suppliers in the world and all over the world, and they make millions of valves, but they make commodity valves. ValvTechnologies specializes in highly engineered, robust design, which can take very high temperature and pressures and very high corrosive service, which other valves cannot.
In reality, the upstream and downstream sectors of the energy business are very closely aligned. And the factors that drive the upstream also very much drive petroleum refining and petrochemicals. Those factors today are safety, and reliability, and environmental compliance. So for ValvTechnologies, it's very important to supply to our customers valves and operating equipment that minimize the exposure, that allow operators and refineries to operate in a safe and efficient manner, and meet government requirements that affect those operating facilities.
ValvTechnologies aligns itself by industry, ensuring it's as knowledgeable as possible for the challenges of each operating environment. The result of this proactive approach is high-quality product tailored to each industry.
What sets ValvTechnologies apart is that it is true to its cause of engineered products. We do not aspire to be a commodity manufacturer. We look at our product as fully an engineered product to guarantee that the product absolutely complies with the requirements that our customers have.
The oil and gas industries face a multitude of challenges. However, ValvTechnologies is always on the forefront, developing products that are dedicated to reliability, safety, total cost of ownership, and that minimize environmental hazards.
So Kevin, what is your company's track record for safety in the field?
We are tested and have verification of our safety record by a company called Lloyd's of London, and they actually
We've heard
do they actually do field visits to our customers and look at documentation and verification. We've supplied several 100,000 valves in the last 30 years.
Wow.
And our record today is one of the best in fact, it is the best in the industry for the applications and services we are discussing. And on average, we have a in-between failure rate of approximately 394 years. So every 394 years, you can expect to have a failure on one of our products.
That is amazing. Wow. So how do oil and gas companies break down the walls that separate purchasing from the needs in the field so that the right equipment gets purchased?
This is a really difficult aspect for business in general. So there are two different pots of money, if I can call it that. We have the maintenance pots, which basically is being handled by the personnel out in the field, and then we have the new construction budgets. New construction budgets are meant to give the least expensive solution to the problem.
Why have you remained domestic when others in your industry have moved offshore?
We do a lot of R&D in Houston and work with a lot of the universities locally. And being a Wall Street type company, we've made the decision that U.S. product is superior, and we're willing to tell our end users that we want to use domestic materials and domestic labor and keep it here inside the United States. And I think it speaks for itself when you end up with records like we have for mean failure type analysis.
I would say, wow. Now, why doesn't ValvTechnologies participate in a broader brush of products and applications?
We're an engineered manufacturing company, and so you end up where you've got to make a choice between supplying bulk commodity type products or products that are typically actually engineered to each and every application. And that's really the big issue. If you look at most major projects, they're doing it by classification of product, and we don't do that. We do it by each and every application. We try and engineer a solution for each and every application.
Now, what are the difficulties and challenges in regards to recruitment, employment, and retention of employees in your industry?
I think number one, you have to make the environment a fun environment, and I hope we succeed in that. Secondly, we have to compete with all of the major oil companies out there because they're always looking to
get that new talent, right?
We are basically a breeding ground for new talent. In life, I think you have to determine where your values are, and for me and our company, the people are the value. You can take the buildings, you can take all the specialty R&D equipment we have, without the incredible staff we have who are absolutely dedicated to coming up with the solution for the end user. That is the heart and soul of who we are.
If you could tell the oil and gas industry one thing, what would that be?
It would be to ensure that operations have a much louder voice in their new construction specifications and elements. If you look at the way multinationals work, not just oil industry, all of the guys at the top get paid on one thing, and that's ROI. And ROI is about today. And what we're really looking at is investing in tomorrow. And so there has to be some change in the formula that drives the compensation for the guys at the top.
So speaking of tomorrow, where do you think ValvTechnologies will be in, say, 5 years?
We're going to continue looking at R&D, and we're going to continue to develop new processes and new solutions for some of the issues we see in the field today. The challenges are great. When you look at the territories we're getting into, and you're looking at the geological formations we're getting into, that's a constantly changing environment. It's not like oil is one thing. There are thousands of different types of chemical makeup on an oil production process, and so we have to constantly be looking for the next and best process that we can develop to help improve the safety, because safety is at the end of the day, a really important part of what we do. There is a measurement for safety, and I think safety is paramount for all of us. I think, again, in some cases, when you look at how people are rewarded at the top, safety isn't always a major calculation, but I think it should be.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for joining me on the show today and for sharing the solid technologies that you are providing at ValvTechnologies.
Well, thank you for having me.
For 21st Century Business, I'm Jackie Bales. Thanks for watching.